We are recording. Coming to you from the dark recesses of the proverbial Dawn Forge pouch, this is episode 249 of the Shattered Soulstone, your Diablo community podcast. I picked the show title this week as Greed's Greed's on the Sam Kinison Memorial Tour. Because I couldn't think of anything else, to be honest with you. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get your free audio book at bit.ly/soulstonebooks2020. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, MP3 player, real man's phone, or any of your Google devices, like King Tut uses. This Today is Monday, February 10th, 2020, and this is Shazam again. Deadgreed's still not back because, again, he's on the Memorial Tour. I didn't come alone again this week. I brought the same person that was here last week because he wanted to do it again. So, I'll introduce to you guys King Tut.
Thanks for having me again, Shazam. Looking forward to it.
I was able to do the PTR this week and did a couple other things. But before that, what did you do in game this week, Tut?
This week was definitely all WoW Classic again. It's basically the only game I'm playing right now. Still really enjoying it. Got a Human Warrior Alliance on Pagel. And this week was basically preparing for BWO, which is Blackwing Lair, which is Phase 3 getting released on Wednesday, I think. So we're planning on raiding it, I think, Thursday night. So trying to get consumables ready. We're going to try and put in our best effort. Got 2 raid teams. And before that, also, there's some rep stuff, Thorium Brotherhood stuff that I'm trying to become a Exalted Hammersmith so that I can make a new weapon, which is a pretty lengthy grind. So it feels like playing Diablo. It's been a lot of rep grinding and other things, trying to prepare for Phase 3, but really enjoying it. Definitely looking forward to the new Diablo season. We'll be there opening night for sure.
The the weapon you're grinding for, it's not Thunder Fury, is it?
No, our main tank has his 100 bars and will be getting his Thunder Fury. We have one other tank that has 1 binding, and that's it as far as the guild has been raiding, since it came out, and so that's 3 bindings. Some guilds don't have any, some have gotten plenty, but yeah, we'll definitely excited to at least have one guy that has it. But no, there's some weapons. So when Phase 3 drops, Thorium Brotherhood Exalted gets basically 3 weapons that you can make: an axe, a hammer, and a sword. So the only way to get those plans is to be Exalted, and getting Exalted with Thorium Brotherhood is a lot of a lot of rep turns that are not easy to get items. So I'm hoping to be the Hammersmith and possibly the first one on the server, so that I can make something called Even Hand. That's basically your Fury Warrior's best in slot if they don't have a raid weapon. Which, again, our guild is not getting raid weapons to drop either. So the best weapons in the game. I mean, they all have small drop chances. And it's unlike Diablo where it's all random. These aren't random. These only drop off certain people, and they have a percentage drop chance. So it's like it's nice, but at times, you would just like everything to be random like Diablo.
It's like Diablo 2 all over again.
That it is.
I have, since we're like dead at work, I decided on Thursday, not knowing when the PTR was coming out, I figured, screw it, I'll just take Thursday off. So I woke up Thursday morning about, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning. I turned on Bloodshed for a while, and I sat there and played normal Diablo 3 for a while. Then I find out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, PTR went live. Um, so I immediately made a warrior, not a barbarian, and leveled him up to 70. Got all the fury stuff. Um, and I started building the character like it did, like I made the Diablo fans the guide for. So all Thursday I was grinding. Me and Greed for a while. We were in a party together because at that point in time it was like a 20-minute queue for the to get into the game. So I leveled Greed up in about 2 minutes, and then he geared out his witch doctor, and we just started doing we did bounties and stuff like that, and then we started doing greater rifts, and we got up to, I think it was a high 80s, maybe low 90s. Me and the Fury Frenzy Barb and him on his witch doctor, and we were literally just like we just kept bumping it up two every time, and we just kept going and kept going and kept going until it was late at night, and then we both went to bed. But yeah, we got pretty far. We got, I don't know, like 400 or 500 Paragon that night, and then the next day I decided I was going to level up a Demon Hunter to speed farm regular rifts. So I did that, and speed farm for bounties too. So we needed 2 rounds of bounties, one really low level, and then ones that were kind of high, just to give us enough mats to cube everything. And I needed to make Captain Crimsons. I didn't make ancient ones. I just made regular ones. I get it. My Demon Hunter really didn't need any great gear. She only had like 2 ancients or something like that. She could still rip a T15 in about 3 minutes. Yeah, did all that, and then I just farmed Paragon and gem levels and stuff like that till Saturday, and then I switched weapons because I kept seeing everybody running this axe that makes you fight through the pain or something like that, and did a 98 in like 4 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm gonna be able to get pretty high on that leaderboard. But then I went to do 100, and I don't understand, between 98 and 100. That's not that big of a jump. I can do a 98 in 4 minutes. Can't do 100. Just keep getting smacked and smacked, and I just keep getting murdered. At that point in time, I just literally turned the game off, and I haven't. I logged back in and I leveled up a witch doctor, but I didn't really play it. And I really have no need to go back and play any more of this PTR in its current rendition right now. Um, until A, they fix stuff, or B, they say they're not going to fix this stuff, and I'm never going to run a frenzy barb because it's not going to be able to go as high as a whirlwind barb anyway, unless they
Yeah,
fix.
barring any changes, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's definitely
Yeah.
not gonna touch the world. And yeah, that going up those two GR levels, it's only supposed to be like 8% more damage. So it does seem weird that you'd go from a 98 in 4 minutes to getting destroyed in a 100.
No, I could put the pig sticker back on and go back and try 100, but again, I have no drive to do it. To be honest with you. Um, so at that,
Sounds like you've got that hardcore mentality in you.
so I after that I decided I bought Warcraft 3. I really haven't played it since it launched. I know there was a patch the other day. I'll start up Warcraft 3. I'll play that. So yesterday, just Sunday, and today a little bit. I'll probably do it after the show too. I just started doing all the missions for Warcraft 3. I did all the prequel missions, and I started on the Arthas missions. I got past Black Rock and Roll, and I think I have the next mission after that. And I'm just gonna play that probably this week. And if there's no patch tomorrow, it's highly unlikely I'm gonna be able to play this PTR. I'm gonna have any drive to play this PTR after this. Because even if they do a patch on Thursday or Friday, sorry, there's a new game coming out. I'm playing a new game. I played Diablo 3. How many thousands of hours? I'm giving this new game a try at launch, and I'm probably gonna play it all weekend. So that's basically my weeks in gaming. Um, yeah,
And
Wolcen.
that
What's
I was
up?
gonna say that game's gonna be Wolcen, right?
Yeah, Wolcen comes out on a Thursday, on the 13th. So yeah, as soon as I get off work on Thursday, if I don't take off work by then, I'm going to be playing that all weekend. I um I don't know what I'm going to play yet. Like starting, I kind of like the melee. This goes like against like everything I've done inside Diablo, kinda. But I played Demon Hunter more than I played any other class, and I played the range class on Wolcen. But I like the melee's abilities better. Like starting out, at least in Act One, up to level 20. I like them abilities better than I like the range class. And I didn't play any of the spellcaster class, so I have no idea like what them skills are. But yeah, I'll probably start out melee on Thursday. Got a shared stash like you do in Diablo, so you can throw all like the melee stuff or the range stuff in your stash, and then just pick it up with another character, which it makes it pretty nice. Um, gems and stuff like that. Yeah. Other than that, I guess we'll talk PTR. All the stuff that we've seen, all the stuff that Tut's read about and seen on YouTube. So, first thing, and there's a lot of people complaining about this on the forum, and I don't understand why. I guess they expected that if they played that season, it was never going to be a season reward ever again. But you get the Andorial wings after you're completing Chapter 4 of Season 20. And then with that, you get a portrait frame, obviously. And then with doing the entire season journey, you get a bat pet and another portrait frame. But the bat pet, it looks like one of them things, and I think what Act 3, it basically swoops down on you whenever you're outside in that snowy place. I can't remember exactly where it is.
Yeah, the ones where it's like you can't complete it and you're like, oh, I don't see any more enemies, and then suddenly they fall down from the sky.
Yeah. But I guess Blizzard ran out of names for this pet, so they just called it Bat. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think Blizzard had already a couple seasons ago set a precedent where they are releasing pets that, you know, either look identical or basically identical to previous pets. So it doesn't really surprise me that they would be bringing back a set of wings. I mean, if there's stuff that people like and they didn't get a chance to obtain it previously, I think it's nice to give people a chance to get it.
Wish they'd do the early ones, man. I want them freaking fire wings and stuff like that. Like, them are the wings I want.
Yeah, that's one of those things too. It's like this is where they could be monetizing the game again, right? At least give people a way to get these transmogs and wings, pets that will probably never get a chance to get again. I mean, like I've said, like the only reason I really want to buy StarCraft 2 is so that I can get the Protoss Pro pet. And I'm personally, I'm not a big, like, I don't ever use transmogs and I don't ever wear wings, but I really like the pet since it's useful.
What about what the heck's her name's wings? Uh, can't think of her name. The bug lady. I can't think of her freaking name.
But Magda?
Heart of the Swarm. Um,
Oh, Kerrigan?
yeah. Yeah, and get her wings.
Nah, it's just to me it just seems weird, right? We're out here, we're trying to slay demons, we're trying to look as awesome as possible, and then we've got these wings on. Like, what are we, butterflies? Like, I don't know. Like, we don't actually fly in the game. I mean, Barb has some leap abilities, but it just doesn't play.
I can't say much. My favorite wings are the Overwatch Mercy wings, and I don't even own freaking Overwatch on PC. I bought it on PS4.
It just everything starts looking busy when you have like the wings on and your pet and what. There's something else you can wear too, right?
Yeah,
Like a flagpole.
the pennant. I never wear that. I think that's too much. Like, I've never worn one. Like, I put it on once. I'm like, this looks stupid, and I took it back off. That was it.
Yeah, but I do like the look of all the new sets. I think they all tied in pretty well. I think they all.
Yeah, I love the bar.
I certainly wouldn't transmog.
Yeah, no. I could see every now and then, like, taking, like, the Barb's helmet off, like, just making it disappear. But, for the most part, I do enjoy the sets. Like, just the way they look.
Yeah, I mean I do as a person in WoW Classic doesn't have my helmet displayed. I do sometimes think the helmet kind of ruins it. It's hard to tell whether it's a male or a female sometimes. It is nice that you can make things disappear.
The, I guess the first bug I guess they found on PTR was arcane turret spell on wizard double dipping damage. And that's causing all the all the people that like cheating in the game that do the 150 clears on the leaderboard, including our main man that got suspended or banned last season. He's on there. I think he was sixth before we started doing the show tonight.
Yeah, my understanding is that basically the damage bonuses on I think it's Death Wish and I think it's a weapon and the offhand for that wizard build are both like they're basically getting doubled.
Yeah,
So and it's like every video I watched mentioned it, and most of the people I watched were not using Arcane Torrent. They were using something else because they knew that I mean there's no chance that this makes it through the PTR. So I mean I don't know why anybody would care about leaderboards in PTR.
yeah. The Death Wish, the Etch Sigil, and the new Manila channeling. The other the other wizard bug, and I think they fixed it internally. They just haven't obviously brought out a patch. Whenever the wizard has his shields up, or he whatever, the and they get hit with max shields, Hydra heads still die. It shouldn't happen. Kind of like the Scorch necklace last season. They're gonna fix it.
Yeah, it's basically just like the Squirt's Necklace bug, where yeah, things like ground effects, things that you know shouldn't be causing the buff to fall off or heads to die or to lose squirt stacks are occurring. So these are the kind of things that you'd think they would have fixed, but yeah, it should be a simple fix. Ideally, yeah, it seems weird that the build where you get your damage reduction from heads, and as you take damage, you lose your damage reduction. It kind of seems like, well, that's the time when you would need your damage reduction. You're in a position where you're taking hits, but so it is a weird dynamic, and I think I'm hoping that they're gonna change it. I mean, the most of the videos I watched and the information I've seen, on Reddit forums is that right now the Legacy of Dreams build for the Hydras is tankier, does at least as much damage. Um, the 10,000 what 10,000% damage is very similar to what the LOD damage bonus is. Plus, you know it has its own damage reduction. So I'd certainly like to see them modify it to where the set is at least as good as the LOD version, if not better. But right now, it's seems like the LOD version is the way to go for the new Wizard Hydra build. And from the videos I saw, it looked, at least in LOD form, it looks pretty tanky and pretty awesome. And with the other builds being nerfed, with as far as the Meteor builds, um, I could definitely see. I don't know if it's Fear Chantoto good from what I've seen, but should be a pretty viable build.
Probably. Greed seems to like it. He he played Witch Doctor, I think, that first day, and hasn't played Witch Doctor since then. He's been playing the wizard ever since.
Yeah, that's kind of the way Greed goes.
But what other bugs? I know you were talking before the show about more bugs than this. Like, what bugs have you heard about on this PTR? You know,
The majority of the bugs really have revolved around that wizard set. I don't know that I've heard of any other major bugs. I mean, there's a, a lot of stuff, especially when they change things or add new things or put in new sets, revolve around stricken stacks. So I think there's some questioning of how stricken stacks are working or whether they're stacking properly or working properly. Um, but those are the only major things that I remember noticing. I mean, there's certainly, there are good things and bad things about each of these sets, and there's certainly some things that I see changing before this goes live for season 20. But yeah, we can talk about the other two builds as well.
You said about the witch doctors, big bad voodoo not following.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, the for the first, Big Bad Voodoo was a skill that stayed put. So you basically as a witch doctor, you set it down and you tried to stay in the circle and have everybody stay in the circle. Well, now it's supposed to follow your character. The issue is that, like, especially when you're spirit walking, like it lags behind, so you fall out of the circle even though you're moving in. The thought process would be that you'd expect Blizzard to want that as you're at least walking, that you would stay in the circle. So, I know Bloodshed had an idea where he wanted them to actually increase the range that Big Bad Voodoo, so basically increase the circle of effect. And Big Daddy Den just wanted it to follow closer. I think it just needs to follow closer. They need to tie it, to where it only goes so many yards away from your character, and it's never less than that many yards away. So basically, as you're walking and spirit walking, you're always in the Big Bad Voodoo. Um, and then obviously, if you're in a multi-person party, then yeah, it would be their responsibility to just stay within your Big Bad Voodoo. Um, but you know, that's the major change that I think is should probably occur, and it's probably going to occur. The other thing I heard was, the it's a witch doctor build, right? So the issue is always going to be that it's not tanky. I mean, there's no tanky witch doctor build. It becomes a glass cannon class. It does this new build does do a lot of damage, and it could possibly be capable of being a rift guard killer. But the issue is that yeah, it's just you're always worried about dying. So the suggestion I heard um, was to just, while we're also modifying the Big Bad Voodoo and making it follow you, go ahead and give it all the runes because, there's some good damage reduction runes. Like right now, you have to run the rune that gives you the additional um, resource back because your damage is based off of how much resource you can regenerate. So you have to run that rune to get the damage. But there are other really good runes for Big Bad Voodoo, and if you could give all of them, it should give a decent buff to your survivability, which is kind of really what most of your Witch Doctor builds. I mean, that's what frustrates greed. That's what sends you to the fields of misery. And at the end of the day, this new build is still just a Spirit Barrage build. It's a pet build, um, and yeah, it just they do the damage, and you just got to survive. But it's nice to make it easier for you to survive.
Yeah. I think the I think really the only thing that this is a double-edged sword right here. I think the only like one of the things like they should change with the barb set is like the four-piece bonus. Like you get 10 stacks of a frenzy, and you have essentially 50% damage reduction. I think that instead of it falling off like your stacks do, I think that should stay on there at least at minimum 10 seconds. Like when, like when you start falling off at like 9, 8, 7, whatever stacks you are, it should stay at 10 for at least a good 10 seconds, giving you enough time to get to another set of mobs or another mob to at least hit them to keep your stacks up. Because I found like running this build on the PTR, you could I could have I could have 50 75 mobs around me in like GR 96, and I could just be swinging away as long as there's no laser beams or any of the other BS. Like I do so much damage and I have life per hit on like at least one of my weapons, I'm pretty sure, had it on both when I had the pig sticker. That I could literally heal myself through a lot of the BS, like even with an elite mob. But on the same token, like I could do that, and then I could and then whenever it pops and like everything dies, I'm running to the next mob. Something hits me once and I get procced. Something hits me again and I die just because I have no frenzy stack, so I have no defense. And that's with having Aquila in the cube. And at one point in time, I had um, the Endless Walk set on, and that didn't even seem to do anything for me.
Yeah,
That
well, the endless walk's not much better than stacks, right? You know, if you're sitting there DPSing, the moment you start walking, that's when you start getting damage reduction. So you could still, it's like Blizzard looks at damage reduction in like three ways, right? It's like either, they just give it to you, things like Unity and Aquila where it's always up. And then you have your ones that are normally like on your rings where you have to use a skill, and then there's a timer, so you just have to use your skill every X amount of seconds. So at least like in the instance of starting off a rift, you could immediately use that skill and have your damage reduction. But then they have these ones like for the Witch Doctor and where you've got to get these stacks and like this new like there are barb sets that just have built-in damage reduction. Like why do I need to get stacks? Like it's same thing with the Witch Doctor needing to get your Soul Harvest stacks to get your major damage reduction. It's like, well, what do you do at the beginning? Like you don't have any stacks when you have to hit that first enemy. You don't have any stacks. It's like I don't it's almost like there needs to be a way to get the stacks immediately, and then if they fall off because you don't do something, that's fine, right? Like give me the damage reduction. Then if I'm not frenzying in some amount of time, it's I hate damage reduction based off of stacks. I really don't like anything that has to stack, especially to keep you alive. Because I mean, yeah, the game is simple, right? It's you got to do damage. You've got to have damage reduction so that you're not getting one-shotted, and then you have to have recovery. You have to have some way that once you don't get one-shotted, you can get your health back up, and that's with your life per resource spent or your life per hit on your weapons, like you mentioned. So those are the three things that every build has to have, and I just don't understand why we have to tie some of these to these stacks. That it's like we're not doing anything wrong, right? Like I didn't pick the rift that has a huge area before I get to the next enemy. Like I don't want my stacks to fall off, but like it's almost like they're forcing you into the build style where you have to like grab a bunch of mobs and chain them and drag them with you so that you're always frenzying or you're always hitting versus the style where you go in, you kill things, you run to the next group, you kill it, you run to the next group, you kill it. It's almost like they're wanting you to do this kiting,
or hold the whole,
get 200 mobs together and kill them. Which again, that is what the top guys do. That is what you do in your higher level GRs. But the guys running 100s, like we just want to find a group, kill it, find a group, kill it. And I mean, obviously there are builds where you've gotta pull enemies in and pull bigger groups and kill stuff for the builds to work. But yeah, it's just I hate stacks.
I could kill a group of mobs with that frenzy set like nobody's business. In the
Yeah, but if the,
GR80s.
if the next if the next set is 10 seconds away.
Oh yeah. But if like even at like the high GR80 somethings, like GR88 or whatever, if there was like molten and I don't know, like poison or something on the ground, I could literally heal myself with life per hit standing in that stuff. Standing in the stuff, still attacking the elite without procking, without even going below half health, just because that's how much life per hit I have. But then you walk to a mob and get one shotted. It's just like it's so frustrating. Like I don't it doesn't make sense. Like how could you like how could you stand in the middle of like 100 mobs and like take it? but walk to the next group of mobs and just get shot. Like it doesn't make any sense.
That's the way it works, man. Damage reduction makes sure you don't get one-shotted, and then your life per hit, life per resource. Make sure that you can sit there and take it. That's how
Let,
you know when you need to modify your build. If you're getting one-shotted, well, it doesn't matter how much life per hit you have. It ain't gonna
oh
save.
yeah. They almost want you to just hold shift when there's no mobs and just get your 10 stacks and walk a little bit. Hold shift to get it back up to 10.
Oh, you don't even have to hit anything. You can just literally just sit there and get your stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I almost think like what you could do is have the stacks stack past, right? So maybe you only get the damage reduction for your first 10 stacks, but if you're like hitting things, and maybe you can at least stack up more stacks that then would fall off, and maybe it doesn't all fall off at once. Maybe that's probably the solution, right? Is your stacks don't just fall off, like they fall off slowly, and so if you have enough stacks already built up, you can get to the next group while still maintaining your damage reduction.
Just have 20 stacks. Just make the last 10 not give you any more damage reduction. Just be a number that makes you keep the damage reduction.
Yeah, I mean that seems reasonable.
So other than that, man, that set's got the damage. And I know people are complaining about the damage, but if they fix like the 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 hammer or whatever axe, I can't remember what it is, that it actually hits 11 times with a swing. Like this set would be phenomenal with damage. Like I don't care if you're in a group of people or just single target. Like you can just annihilate like everything. Like
Yeah,
if you're standing in a group, you're only there for like 10 seconds before everything pops with stricken or just waiting for your rotation on conventional elements to go around, and then you hit the fire stack, and then everything's just dead.
yeah. I mean, I think if there's one thing we know, especially in these PTRs, that generally Blizzard, will overshoot on damage or is making sure that these sets at least put out good damage. It's really just normally comes down to the damage reduction and is there enough, or does it need to be modified? Because again, with the examples of the sets from last season, it's the same thing, right? It's just they weren't tanky enough, and then things obviously. I mean, the Whirlwind Ren build I still think is overpowered. I don't know if they're going to make any changes to it before this season, but if that wasn't in the cards, this new build I think would be good and would have a chance probably to top Barbarian leaderboards.
The last time I looked on that leaderboard, the Barbarian, the Whirlwind Barb was first with a GR 115, and then a new set was after that with a 115. It just didn't do it as quick. So I'd assume there was people farming for like a good rift.
Yeah, I think the only thing that you could see change here, and it will still help, is yes, trying to give the Barb set some way to keep Wrath of the Berserker up 100% of the time. That's the major complaint I saw about it. In, yeah. Would you like to not lose your stacks for your damage reduction? Sure, but the obviously if you can keep Wrath of the Berserker up 100% of the time, well now you're getting, you have a chance to run the damage reduction rune. So,
Oh,
that would be another way to make the build tankier if you keep it up 100% of the time. So, I could see them changing, giving something in the 2 or the 4 piece that gives you an opportunity to get some kind of cooldown reduction or something that'll bring Wrath of Berserker. Because the reality is, you know, that skill is the Barbarian skill, and it's hard for a build that can't keep that up almost all the time to really be a top Barb build. I mean, there are sets, like IK that are built around keeping that up and Call of the Ancients. So that's the thing I could see that could really push this build to like right there. with Whirlwind and Ren.
Yeah, the problem is Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac does the resource spender, not a resource generator, so that makes that ring useless with a generator build.
Yeah, I don't see him changing the way Obsidian works,
Yeah, I
but
don't
yeah,
expect him to.
I think it'd have to be some kind of change, like in the set, would be the best, so that you're not messing with other. It could be tied to the stacks too, where with each stack of frenzy you get so much cooldown reduction to Wrath of the Berserker.
Yeah, they could do that. I would assume it would be just in general 1 second cooldown, on any cooldown. But
Yeah, I mean, considering most of your skills are not cooldown based skills anyways that you're using to support this build, you're using
well,
your shouts. Your shouts, you don't have to worry about cooldowns for your shouts, which is one of the nice things of playing.
there was I had 3 things that were just all on cooldown. I had Wrath of the Berserker and 2 other things that were cooldown based, and the shout was obviously just straight 20 fury or whatever.
Yeah, most of the builds I saw were going with, kind of what I mentioned in the last podcast, right? You're gonna go with a ground stomp to stun the enemies in place, and
Yep.
then fear them with another shout, and then so you got your war cry, you got your battle rage, and then you've got your threatening shout. So you could go with a 3 shout build, and then decide whether you want to use like a charge or a ground stomp or a leap to make sure that you're proccing your what's the damage reduction?
Bandamite.
Yeah, you definitely got to make sure that's up at all times.
Yep. Yeah, I use ground stomp, a vacuum one.
Yeah, I think most people use ground stomp, and then just becomes a question of do you want to work the fear double damage fear part into a stun and a fear, which I think ultimately is what most.
Yeah, Big Daddy Den's video had fear into things and then ground stomping to suck them all in and stun them and then obviously annihilate them.
Yeah, and I think I saw another video too where they were kind of thinking that you would only worry about the fear part, um, when you're doing Rift Guardians or like elite packs, and just so that you don't have to worry about chasing a bunch of mobs.
You can't fear Rift Guardian.
Yeah, I think it was more like tough elite packs.
Yeah.
Play somewhere where you'd really need the 200% or the double damage.
The only thing I hate about the fear thing is it doesn't work on Rift Guardians and it doesn't work on the what the heck are the
Juggernauts.
yeah it doesn't work on Juggernauts. So like the hardest two.
Yeah, Juggernaut. Yeah,
Go,
and Juggernauts are the ones you'd want it for, right?
yep. Yeah, the hardest 2 things it doesn't even do anything to.
Yeah, Juggernauts is one of those things where I don't completely understand why it's almost like again it's a random thing and a Juggernaut can ruin a rift and I don't know if that's why they put them in, but it seems weird that like certain effects can't work. I mean, we understand that they're tougher, they have a bigger health pool, but I don't understand why other certain effects don't work against the Juggernaut. It's but again, I guess that's just the RNG aspect of playing D3, right? You don't know how many Juggernauts you're gonna get. Sometimes when you get a Juggernaut, you just skip it, and then you hope you don't get another one. But I mean, that's the same as whether you're gonna get an elite pack or a set of blues, right? Some builds like a set of blues, some builds prefer an elite with ads.
And when you get blues, you want 3, you don't want 5.
Yeah, right. Well, depending still, right? It depends on how good your AOE is. Because obviously, if it's a set of 5, they're gonna have a lower health pool than a set of 3. But yeah, I guess that's what makes. But yeah, not being able to fear a juggernaut seems
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add to PTR stuff?
no, I think we pretty much covered the three builds. I mean, I think again, I think they're all good. I think they're all going to be used. I think the wizard set definitely I think needs some changes so that it becomes better than the LOD version since they put a bunch of work into it. But yeah, I could see changes to the set bonuses for all three sets just to try and make them a little bit better. Yeah, I think it'll be a good season. I think people are going to use these sets and hopefully have a good time.
Thankfully, it seems like this PTR. I'm still crossing fingers because we still got a week and a half to go. Cross fingers that it doesn't. None of the builds came out like the Crusader did last season, where it went completely in left field. Like they expected you to use it. So we're still good on that aspect.
Yeah, none of these are game breaking other than the arcane torrent bug right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna be crazy. Nothing's gonna do just do a solo 150 or anything like that. So I think they're good. I mean, at this point, with the amount of sets we have already, the new sets they've already added, it's like the formula is pretty simple, right? It's 50% damage reduction. It's 10,000 ish damage, and then it's some unique things that make the build play well or play enjoyable, essentially. So that you're not just it's not just here you go, put this set on, use this skill. Here's your 50% damage reduction. Here's your 10,000 damage bonus. Go do some GR 115s. But I know I listen to Blood, and I know Blood's already done. With like no Paragon, already done 115s with all three builds. So I mean, they're all even if they don't make any changes, not using Arcane Torrent. Like these are all at least GR 115 builds, that a reasonable person can use and enjoy. So while we're talking about some of the issues with them right now, if they don't make any changes, they're still good. And I think they're gonna make them better before the season.
Yeah, I believe so too. Hopefully they do it before the end of the PTR.
Yeah, hopefully they've learned their lesson. And again, that's why we have a 2-week PTR instead of a 1-week PTR. Is that you don't want to make these changes, you know, as the season starts. It's best to make the changes and at least give some people time to make sure that they're actually working properly before you start the season. End up with the craziness that occurred with the Crusader set.
Yeah, or the backlash that they did after the end of last season, like when they gave us the belt and then they took it away, and then people complained so much they gave it back.
Yeah, right. And so what ended up happening? Well, yeah, the Whirlwind Ren Bar build is still far and away the best Barbarian build, and it takes me back to my Blessed Shield Crusader, where in that PTR that stuff was so overpowered, and they pulled it back basically the perfect amount for when the season started. But yeah, people were upset. They're always going to be upset. I mean, people are going to be upset that they're not clearing solo GR 150s this season because the seasonal buff, isn't giving you an extra 10 GR levels. So, you can't make everybody happy. I think as it sits right now, everybody's going to be happy with these new changes. At least giving you three new builds, one for each class. If you factor in a LOD build, maybe two builds, and then obviously there's push build variations and speed variations for some of these.
Yeah, and I can't wait for season 21. That's gonna be my
The
season.
season of the Demon Hunter.
Season of the Demon Hunter and probably the Necromancer.
Yeah, which actually I heard some interesting points too that with with the changes and with this seasonal buff, and again, the fact that necromancers love rings, that the fact that necromancers can now use more than 3 rings, I think rat runs are going to be the meta again, and I think the necromancer is going to be pretty good this season, even with no changes and no new items yet. I think you're going to see a lot more people this season running the necromancer than you did last season. I don't think anybody played it. Everybody was all whirlwind, Ren, Barb instead of rat run.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody seemed to do Whirlwind Barb. I think right now, I think on the on a live server, I think you got to do like a 128 or something to get on the top 1,000, which to me I think is pretty nuts, but you know, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean it. Who knows? I mean, I guess there's still a chance that they could change some of that stuff well before the season actually goes.
I think that they would do that on the down low so everybody doesn't crucify him for it.
Yeah, well, I mean that's all pretty. All it would take is a small change to one of the items. Throw it in the final PTR notes.
Just not even throwing the notes, just drop it by like 50% and like, what is it, 100 to 200% or something like that. Just drop it 50% of that, make it 100 to 150 or whatever, and not even say a word about it, and just be like, oh, huh, I didn't. We totally forgot to add that to the notes.
Yeah, I'm sure people would be super salty about that.
It would take a while for them to at least notice it. At least a day.
Yeah, I don't know that it would even take a day. I bet people the first night are gonna be whirlwind rending to GR100s like it's nothing.
I don't know. They get the IK set, so I don't know. Probably though. Like the
It's
IK.
true, I guess.
Like the.
Did they? Well, I guess it doesn't change, right?
What do you mean?
Well, the order that the sets go in, unless they add a new set.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
We're getting. If I can remember all these correctly, if we're getting Uliana for Monk, we're getting Natalia's for Demon Hunter. We're getting Eric here for Witch Doctor. Um, I want to say Traggles for Necromancer. IK for Barb. Um, Seeker of the Light for um, Crusader. Did I miss any?
Wizard.
Um, shit. I can't remember that one. To be honest with you, that's the only one I can't remember.
If it's not Veers, it doesn't matter.
It is Veers.
I guess some people still like Chen.
I believe it's Veers. Anyway, um, we got friends, and them friends have a podcast. If you want to know about lore of Diablo, go to bookofgen.net. She does 15 to 20-minute episodes once a month about, you know, lore about Diablo. This one currently is the Endurance Council. Um, yeah, she's once a month. She come again. She comes out with a new episode, and pretty interesting. They're, as far as I know, she's putting out about 10 of them to Riker's one. So she's a lot more consistent than Riker is right now. And yeah, that's about it. She does a much better job at Riker because she does it once a month, and he does it about once every 10 months. Not making fun of Riker, I'm just saying the truth. um, what else do we got here? Did you watch anything this week, Tut, that you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I watch a little bit of TV, but no movies or anything like that.
You got Netflix?
I'm one of those people that has never had a Netflix subscription. My my wife has it times, and I know she had it when I was dating her, but we don't currently have it. I don't know. It's one of those things where I just right now. I mean, we still have cable, so um, there's quite a few good options now. They've improved it to where you can watch quite a few things and for free. Just download them too and put them on your DVRs. So we pretty much, if we're looking for something, we'll just go through the channels and find something.
I have watched this weekend. I guess last week I seen on Netflix there was a documentary called The Pharmacist. And then I watched, like the minute trailer or whatever that they have, like when you hover over it. And like,
Was he a serial killer?
no, no, he's quite the opposite. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like his kid, and Greed messaged me this weekend because I had Greed watch it. Apparently, this dude's kid and Greed were born on the same in the same year, but this dude's kid, they live in Louisiana, which they tell you that in the middle of the documentary. He goes to, I guess, the bad part of New Orleans to buy crack at the middle of the night, and the 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 pharmacist kid ends up getting shot and killed, murdered for for a drug deal. The pharmacist doesn't like that the cops are like, just think of his kid as, like, the kid shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been in that neighborhood in the middle of the night. Only bad stuff happens. The dude's your kid was on crack. It's just basically your kid's a statistic at this point. We really don't care who killed him. Well, this didn't set well with this dude. He took like a leave of absence from his job, and basically found out who the killer was of his kid. That all happened in the first episode. And then episodes like 2, 3, and 4. Okay, the dude's kid died. He finds out who killed him, blah, blah, blah. Dude goes to prison. He goes back to the pharmacist, to be a pharmacist again. And he starts, filling all these prescriptions for Oxycontin, Xanax, and all this stuff. And he's an older dude, so he's like, every time like someone comes in and gives him this prescription and stuff, it's like Oxycontins and Xanax and stuff. He basically questions the people that are getting it, be like, what do you need this for? Like, are you that hurt? Like, it's like body parts like severed or something. People are like, no, this doctor gave it to me. They gave me this prescription. And like more and more people are coming in from this doctor giving these prescriptions out. So he starts, basically going out investigating the doctor. And then he calls the DEA and stuff, and the DEA is like, the DEA can't tell him anything because on their end they're trying to, bust this doctor for the same exact thing. And they said like the DEA people were like, this guy calls like 50 times a day, like because he thinks we're not doing anything. And like then you see their footage, and you see like the camera move over, and you see you see them videotaping him, that's videotaping the doctor's office, and then like it's so screwed up. But the dude ends up, you know, the dude ends up doing a better job at busting this doctor and stuff for, basically running a pill mill than the DEA does. Now I want to tell you like the whole synopsis of this whole documentary because I want you guys to watch it. But like this dude at like 60 some years old does a better job than like the people that are basically sworn to protect, you know, the the citizens of, I guess, Louisiana and stuff like that in the United States because he talked to the DEA and the FBI and stuff like that. But man, it's like you just wonder, like, it's the craziest stuff. And the
Does
only
sound crazy.
and the only other thing I watched, and I don't I was talking to a kid about this at work today, and I, I don't know. I don't know if it's not like racist or anything like that, but like the history books when I was in high school, which was, oh my God, it's 20 years ago. Um, like when they talk about like civil rights and stuff like that, and like United States history, they basically do a very slim skim over, and this is what happened. Martin Luther King did this speech. He did this "We Have a Dream" speech. He got shot and killed. That was the end of Martin Luther King. Malcolm X got shot and killed. That was the end of the that was the end of Malcolm X. Um, but they really don't tell you anything, about these people. Like at least 20 years ago they didn't. I don't know if they do today. I don't know anybody in really high school that I can ask. But
Honestly, I'm not sure they even teach history in high school.
uh, but like there's a lot of things in history like that I want to learn about. Um, so I seen this weekend that they have this big giant documentary. It's like four or five episodes long about Malcolm X, and I started watching that on yesterday, and so far it's pretty interesting. Like I didn't know much about the dude. I didn't even know he was Muslim until this weekend. But he he got shot and killed, obviously. And there's a dude that's, I don't know even how old he is. He grew up in the '60s, so I would assume that he'd be, in the late '50s, early '60s by now. He wants to find out who actually killed Malcolm X, because two people that are in prison for killing Malcolm X actually did it. Two other people that are in prison for killing the dude didn't even do it. So he wants to find out exactly who are the real people that actually killed the dude, other than the two people that actually, that are in prison for it, and the two people that are in prison that didn't do it. But thankfully, I didn't grow up back then, because it seemed like way more screwed up back then than it is today. And you know, I don't know. Like the dude that's doing this, like I said, he's in his late 50s, early 60s. He talked about when he was 14 years old, he was talking to a white girl. You know, him and his buddy were talking to this white girl because they were at the high school. You know, they went to school with her, stuff like that. Two white cops drove by, didn't like the black people talking to the white girl, so they literally took this kid, drove him around, talk about, killing him for like I don't know how long, and then they beat the living crap out of him with billy clubs and left him, wherever they left him. Like that's like the kind of weird stuff that you don't ever hear about today. Other than you know cops doing it to like Rodney King and stuff like that. But again, thankfully I didn't have to grow up back then. I grew up in the basically 90s, so I was kind of sheltered from everything except for big things when we grew up was Rodney King, O.J. Simpson, and 9/11. That was basically the three biggest things in the news, other than basically the Gulf War and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would definitely say it was a time of, yeah, some major terrorism. I remember like the Atlanta Olympic bombing, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, World Trade Center bombing as well.
yeah, yeah. I totally forgot about them. Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it was kind of the age where, yeah, those major public target terrorist attacks definitely.
But yeah. Some of the only two things I watched this week. I wanted to watch Rick and Morty again, but then I'm like, I've already watched these episodes like twice. I don't want to watch them again. Um,
I did watch the WoW class or the WoW episode of South Park. There's actually somebody on YouTube that made like a continuation of it for WoW Classic, which was pretty fun to watch.
nice.
And I do find myself gravitating more towards watching YouTube videos now, watching a lot of other stuff. Like I really enjoy watching StarCraft 2 on YouTube, even though like I don't really play it. I just really like watching good players play it, or sometimes bad players.
Yeah, that's the. It started with me in 2018 when I got my first BlizzCon virtual ticket. I'm thinking to myself, I ain't never gonna watch this esports stuff. Like I don't give two craps. But then like I start watching like the StarCraft stuff. And then I'm watching it longer and longer and longer, and I'm like, I gotta know who wins now. So, and then last year, the same exact thing. I'm like, well, I watched StarCraft last year. I might as well watch it this year. And I watched basically most of it all this past year.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I feel like real-time strategy games like really they really thrive in that streaming and environment. I can certainly see why, there was a time period where StarCraft 2 was the top dog, amongst streaming and, you know, esports essentially.
the crazy thing is basically the people's reflexes have to be so good that when you hit a certain age and your reflexes start slowing down, you basically can't play the game at a high level anymore.
Yeah, it is crazy. I like it too. It's like StarCraft is so crazy that not only do they have the stat, where it's actions per minute, and the pros are in that 500 plus actions per minute. So, you think about that, right? divide that by 60, and you have how many actions per second. These guys are doing, you know, 9 actions per second, right? So that's 9 key presses, 9 button, mouse presses, and then they actually have like effective actions per minute too. And some of these guys, like, they're not even like wasting clicks, right? You know, every click is an effective action, which is crazy too.
Yeah. And me, me and the um, the parts manager had this argument. This this is probably about a year ago now. He basically told me one day that his hand-eye coordination is so good that it is probably the highest in basically the shop, and I'm thinking to myself, you're full of crap. Like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, all the all the teenagers and stuff that play video games, their hand-eye coordination is far superior than yours. My hand-eye coordination is far superior than yours, just for the simple fact is we play video games and you don't. Like, people don't understand how much higher hand-eye coordination people have that literally can play video games. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, right? Where hand-eye coordination will only get you so far, right? Like,
Yeah.
good hand-eye coordination will help you hit a baseball, but the repetition of seeing pitches and hitting that baseball over and over is what's going to take you to the next level. And it's the same thing with, Diablo and, to a much higher extent, StarCraft 2, where a lot of it just becomes muscle memory and, just your fingers are used to hitting these buttons in the right times. You don't even have to think about it. It becomes automatic. No different than, like, when you're watching Fortnite videos and those guys that can crank those crazy 90s, right? Well, it's just a sequence of button presses, that they can perfectly time every time.
But how they slow down when they hit 30, though? That's the weird part.
I don't know that every game. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but you know, things like, thinking about like some of the esports that have been going for a long time, or your games like CS:GO, where, yeah, I mean, generally it's the younger players. Same thing, I think, a lot of the time, League of Legends, games like that. But I don't know that just age and even hand-eye coordination, that you couldn't have, like the Brett Favre and, the Tom Brady of esports that's playing well past what the normal age is.
Look at StarCraft, though. Like, the people that won like the last 2 years aren't even 20 yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good for the sport. I mean, I don't know that that's saying that, that the other guys are worse. It's just, it could be new strats, new techniques, and they might just be playing the dominant race right now. I mean, there's a whole bunch of factors.
Cyril, though, he was taught from whenever he was a kid till now. His dad taught him how to play StarCraft, since he could remember.
That's Yeah. I mean, I would certainly agree that, yeah, as a kid, your learning ability is certainly different than, when you're 40. So, yeah, I mean, being a kid, it's just like they say, right? Like learning languages, right? I mean, when you're a kid, learning languages is easy, and then, when you're 40, it's not easy to learn a second language.
We don't need to anymore. We got smartphones.
It's true. I feel like there should just be some kind of attachment at this point that, like, you just put it on, kind of like a voice box or something. Just Google translates. It listens, Google translates, and then, like, as you're speaking, it speaks it speaks the other language. Like, why do we not have that yet?
I think we do. You just gotta look for it.
Let's just all have our own universal translators. We'll all have our own C3POs.
Yeah. Instead of hiring somebody, we got a phone that does it for us. Your phone just doesn't nod when you're talking, and then just blurt out everything you said in a different language when you're done.
It is crazy though that all these streamers living in other countries, how the fact that the majority of their audience is English speaking, how good most of them are and how quickly they pick up the language too.
Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of people that are bilingual outside the United States, at least, or outside of the United States and Europe, English speaking people that they all know English anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like, in high school, we took, you had a few language choices, but it was almost like take these language classes just to pass them, whereas in other, in European countries, they're teaching you another language so that you can speak it as a second language so that you actually communicate with it versus just pure memorization, passing whatever course you're
Yeah, we had two options when I was in high school: French and Spanish. And I didn't care to learn any of them.
in. Yeah, I think we had French, Spanish, and Latin, and I picked Latin, which is a language that isn't even spoken.
Like if they had offered me German, I probably would have taken it. I probably would have done pretty good. Because again, I would have cared about it. You know. Do you have anything else to add to the show, sir?
Not that I can think of. I mean, thanks for having me, and I look forward to continuing on with the show for as long as Greed's able to keep his Sam Kinison Memorial Tour going.
It might be going on the Richard Pryor Memorial Tour after he's done with the CM Kinnison one. I don't know.
Guess we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah. You've been listening to episode 249 of the Shattered Soulstone, your Diablo community podcast. Missed an episode? You can find the show's blog and listen to the show archives at www.shatteredsoulstone.com. With your support, you can help the show grow. Become a Patreon today. Patreon.com/Soulstone. Come join us in-game or in-game community and clan, both named Shattered Soulstone. We're open to anyone who would like to join. You can also join us on Discord for the ultimate team and community-based experience. Find the Discord invitation link on our Twitter and Facebook page, as well as the Shattered Soulstone website. This show is powered by you, the listener. Send your contributions, thoughts, questions, and feedback to show@shatteredsoulstone.com, and whoever can look at your email will probably send it along to me because me and Tut don't ever have any can't see emails, so it is what it is. We love Twitter. Come join and tweet with us. You can find the show's Twitter at Shattered Stone, Deadgreed at Deadgreed1812. You can find me at Shazam081. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to Medros of Dawn Forge Productions for hosting our Loot Deviant show. You can find more shows from the Dawn Forge at www.thedawnforge.com. Thank you for listening. Until next time, from all of us here at the Shattered Soulstone, over 248 episodes for your listening pleasure.
Dawn
Dawn Forge!
Forge! Need to change it to Iron Forge.
Yeah.